Today we rank all of the quick hacks in Cyberpunk 2077 and the results may surprise you. Let's get to it. Welcome the over 170,000 of you fantastic people who have hit that subscribe button, as well as the other 40% of you who have not yet. So in my last rankings video where I ranked all of the builds for Cyberpunk, which I will link down below just in case you haven't seen it, I seem to have offended a lot of people in that video because I didn't take the time to explain to you all my ranking scale. So when I ranked something A rank, it made a lot of people feel like that wasn't a very good position because they felt that that thing was top tier. Well, A rank in my scale is pretty top tier. So I'm going to do that real quick for this one. So S tier is godlike. These are quick hacks that you should be using all the time and always have equipped in your cyber deck. A tier are extremely good quick hacks that you should probably have in your cyber deck, but they're just not quite as good as the S tier. Still extremely OP though. B tier are going to be quick hacks that you can use or you can just forget about them. Doesn't mean that they're bad, it just means that they're not completely necessary. D tier are going to be quick hacks that are just meh. And obviously F are trash. So now that we got that out of the way, let's start ranking some quick hacks. We're starting off with Cripple Movement. This one is B tier. It can be helpful in some situations where you are dealing with some bosses. Combined with Cyberware malfunction can pretty much shut a boss down, allowing you to deal with it. But it is possible, of course, with quick hacks to one-shot most bosses if you have the proper setup. So this is going to be one of those that's going to be more helpful to you early on than it is going to be later game. So it's kind of one of those take it for a while then leave it quick hacks. So B tier. Detonate grenade is going to C. While it is fun and it does okay damage, it's just a novelty because it is expensive to use and there are much better options that are cheaper and will do more damage. You also have a situation where some things don't have grenades, so you can't actually use it on them, and some things have grenades that don't do a ton of damage. For example, the gas grenades, and then they can just walk out of the gas and then it makes the whole thing completely useless and you just wasted a bunch of RAM for nothing. Memory wipe is going to F tier. This is an absolutely trash quick hack and you should just leave it in your inventory where it belongs and never use it. Sonic Shock essentially does the same thing if you are sure to cast it first, and it is 1,000 times better option than the overpriced memory wipe. Overheat is going straight to A tier. This is an absolutely phenomenal damage quick hack, especially early game. This is going to be one of your best damage spells in the early game, and the best thing about it is it continues to do good and consistent damage clear into the late game. The only reason it does not go to S tier is because there are better damage options once you get to the late game that can one-shot things. This doesn't necessarily always one-shot stuff and it is damage over time, so even if it does one-shot something, meaning you only have to cast this and this only on it for that thing to die, it takes time for that thing to die in which that thing can shoot you while it's dying. Moving on to Ping. Ping is C tier. Ping, they did you wrong. Ping used to be one of those quick hacks that you didn't want to leave home without. It was fantastic for a lot of different builds, but now in 2.0, Ping is close to useless. There are some situations where Ping can be kind of handy, but in most cases, you don't really need it. I played through this entire game from start to finish as a net runner and maybe used Ping twice. Due to the fact that I did use it probably twice, it is going to C tier. It does have its uses, and that use is basically, I can't find this guy, where the heck is he? You know he's around there somewhere, but you just can't find him, and you've already killed everybody else, but he's hiding in a corner somewhere and his AI is derped out. That's basically the only 2 or 3 times I used this quick hack. Reboot Optics is up next and it's going to B tier. Reboot Optics does have its uses. It can come in handy from time to time, but it is not 100% necessary. It's really good for if you just need to shut down an enemy for a hot second so you have time to think and you don't have any place to hide for some reason, you've backed yourself into a corner or something like that. It's just kind of nice to have on occasion, but not necessary. Request Backup is going to F tier because I can't think of any situation where you would ever want to use this or need to use it. Maybe back before 2.0, it could have been a little bit useful if you were playing a Contagion build because you could use it to group enemies up a little bit so that your Contagion could could spread easier, but seeing as how they kind of destroyed Contagion in 2.0, it just doesn't really have any uses at all. Most areas in which you're going to be taking people out have cameras anyway, which you can just tap into and then systematically go through with Sonic Shock and some type of high damage quick hack. Short circuits going straight to A tier. This is an insanely handy quick hack, especially for the early game. It does good damage to mechs and other electronic stuff, and it is a really good early game damage quick hack, and it even follows through to the later game as being a really good high damage quick hack because it gains 10% additional damage per stack of Cyberware malfunction, and Cyberware malfunction itself also increases damage to the target. It also applies an EMP effect that deals additional damage over time, and it deals plus 20 damage against enemies that are below a high threat level. Absolutely phenomenal quick hack. Moving on to Sonic Shock, it's going straight to S tier. This quick hack is absolutely insane, especially in the later game. As soon as it hits its second tier, it gains the ability to scramble comms, preventing the affected enemy from communicating with their allies. And you can get that very early game, and once you do, you can pretty much go full stealth mode. And one thing I do want to point out here is until it gets its third ability, which it cloaks the enemy from the allies, you want to make sure that if enemies are in a group, you quickly put it on all enemies that are in the group at the same time. This will break them all from being able to communicate with each other, and then you can go through and damage each of them, and you will never initiate any trace. Once it gains the cloak ability, you can upload it to an enemy and delete that enemy right in front of its buddy, and its buddy will not care that that just happened. And it gains this ability on purple tier, and you never really need to upgrade past that because its legendary version just has the ability that when you upload it to someone that is already affected by memory wipe and reboot optics, they lose consciousness. You can easily take them out with a single quick hack after the fact, saving you a ton of RAM from uploading the overly expensive memory wipe or messing with reboot optics at all. Next up is a quick hack that I'm not going to say the name because YouTube doesn't like it. We're going to call it Susu. So Susu is going to rank C, and that is because it's overly priced for what it does, and it's kind of just meh, and it doesn't work on bosses. Just like Detonate Grenade, it's novelty, it's fun, it's shiny, it's cool to mess around with sometimes, but it's completely unnecessary. Moving on to Synapse Burnout. Synapse Burnout is S tier. It deletes everything. It is insane. It is overpowered. It is absolutely busted. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, but you need the one Cyberware that increases its damage, blah, 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 blah. No, you don't. No, you don't. You need the right cyber deck, the right combination of quick hacks, and you can pretty much delete everything regardless of whether or not you are critting. It absolutely trivializes 99.99% of the entire game. Moving on to System Collapse. System Collapse is trash. It's going right to F tier. It's overpriced. It doesn't do anything a bunch of other quick hacks don't already do, and it's redundant and useless. On top of that, it doesn't even work on bosses. It just damages a boss a little bit and causes them to stagger for a few seconds, which is dumb because it doesn't even say that it does that. It should, and if it did actually one-shot bosses, then I would move it to S tier or maybe A tier, but it doesn't. So no, it's trash. Don't mess with it. It's overpriced and it's not going to do you any good. Next, we have Weapon Glitch. Weapon Glitch is going to B tier. This is another one of those ones that's handy in a lot of different situations, even early game, because kind of like Reboot Optics, it shuts the enemy down for a second, allowing you to do other things to them while they are fiddling around with their weapon. Later versions gain some really nice effects, like detonating the target's primary weapon, forcing them to switch to a secondary weapon, causing the weapon to malfunction, reducing the accuracy and disabling smart targeting, as well as a weapon's ability to penetrate cover, which are all handy things in certain situations. Cyber Psychosis is going to F tier. It used to be really good. Cyber Psychosis used to be a ton of fun and really awesome, and the unit that you cast it on would take out a couple of enemies, and it was really good times, but now it's just completely unnecessary, and the target doesn't even do a ton of damage, usually gets shut down really fast, and yeah, it's not worth messing with, and it's also really freaking expensive. Bait is also going to F tier. I don't know when you'd ever use this. Like, I don't have any idea why you would mess with this at all. I feel like maybe if you were playing a stealth character that was using knives or pistols or something, and you decided to run a cyber deck instead of a Sandevistan, which I don't know why you would do in the first place, but maybe you wanted to and you needed to separate an enemy or call one over to you. It's so far-fetched the things that you would come up with to use this. It's like, why would you even bother when there are so many easier and more efficient ways to take out a target with a proper build, and it's useless. Contagion is going to C tier, and the reason it's going to C tier is because its damage isn't nearly as good as Overheat, which is sad, and they have absolutely destroyed Contagion and how good it used to be. And the reason it's going to C tier though instead of F is because it does have a fun interaction with Overheat when it gets into its higher tiers, because it can cause a target to explode, which is just funny. So it gets points for being funny, but it's another novelty type situation. Overheat on its own can take out a target, most targets. So uploading Contagion first to then just upload Overheat is redundant, but it is funny. And last but not least, we have Cyberware Malfunction, which is going straight to S tier. Cyberware Malfunction is insanely strong, and I'm sure many people overlook it. I actually know many people overlook it because I read my comments section. Cyberware Malfunction gets an ability rather early on that allows you to do increased damage to the target per stack of Cyberware Malfunction uploaded to the target. So at its final legendary tier, you do an additional 5% increased damage to the target that has this on it for 10 seconds, and it stacks up to 8 times. Now, you're probably not going to put a full 8 stacks on a target, but you can quickly and easily do 3 stacks, which is a 15% increase in damage. And its iconic version increases that even more. At 2 stacks, you permanently disable the enemy's cyberware. At 3 stacks, it deals electrical damage over time to the target. So you can upload 3 stacks, deal electrical damage over time, and gain a 15% increase in damage to the target for 10 seconds, in which you can upload Synapse Burnout to absolutely nuke said target. A netrunner can complete the entire game with Sonic Shock, Synapse Burnout, and Cyberware Malfunction, and they can do it with ease. Now, granted, there are some use cases where you would want to have one of those trash, expensive F tier quick hacks uploaded to your cyber deck, and that is for using them to regain health and or RAM back with a specific type of build. If you upload your quick hack in the second slot, and in your third and fourth slots, you put just whatever quick hacks that you want to put in there that are going to cost a good bit, and that final one reduces the cost of the quick hack by half, but you gain 80% back. You can fill your RAM completely back up doing this combo properly. Now, you should be able to upload the killing quick hack to the third slot, but it is currently bugged and not working properly at the time of making this video. So there is reason to use those F tier quick hacks, but you're not going to actually be using those F tier quick hacks for taking out a target. They're still trash quick hacks. You're just using them because they're expensive. But this could also be achieved with just uploading more Synapse Burnout, because it's not cheap itself. But once again, don't underestimate those A tier quick hacks or even the B tier quick hacks, because they're all relatively good, and the B tier do have their use case scenarios. I actually run around all the time with Sonic Shock, Synapse Burnout, Cyberware Malfunction, Overheat, Short Circuit, and Weapon Glitch. That's it. That's all I use, and that's what I beat the game with. All right, hopefully you found this video helpful and informational. If you did, please consider hitting the subscribe button and notification bell so you can be notified when I upload other videos. And if you're looking for some more Cyberpunk content, you can find a link to another one of my videos on the screen right now. I want to give an absolute massive shout out and thank you to all of my channel supporters for helping to keep these videos sponsor free. You all are absolutely amazing people. If you would like to become an official channel supporter, check out the links in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're shy, you don't like to comment, just hit that thumbs up button and share your support. Until next time, thanks for watching.